Yo, dude, R is like the weirdest letter ever. Let's talk about the letter R. There are a lot of different languages out there that have the letter R, but the way they're read and pronounced varies greatly on the language. Here's a question for you. What is the first sound that comes to mind when you see the letter R? Me, for example, as someone who is from California, it's the hard R, like faster, stronger, juicier, fart. I was actually surprised when I found out that there are other languages that utilize this hard R, like Mandarin Chinese, when some people say nar, or Dutch when people say goedemorgen, hoofddorp. In American English, I believe we read the letter out loud almost every time when it's in the spelling, and with the same pronunciation pretty much every single time. However, you might pronounce the letter R differently because of your language or accent. If you're from the UK, for example, you might not even be pronouncing the letter R, depending on where it's placed, like faster, harder, hence making the letter silent. Now let's talk about rolled R. I personally feel that this pronunciation is the most popular out of all the languages I've heard so far. Just to name a few, languages like Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Indonesian, Tagalog, and even some English accents utilize the sound. Examples: raro, ragazzi, claro, kalimera, privet, terima kasih. It's that tip of the tongue R sound that you make as you sort of whip the tip. Why did that sound kind of funny? Anyway, it has a way softer sound than that hard R we talked about earlier. Actually, when I visited Spain, my friend was pronouncing the word Burger King like Burger King. Quite a difference. The degree in which you roll your R depends on the language and the accent. By adjusting the strength, you might even change the meaning of the word, like pero and perro in Spanish. Isn't that right, buddy? He definitely agrees. When you take languages like French and German, for example, there's that H-sounding R, as I call it, because it sounds more like the letter H in English. It's that guttural sound coming from the back of your throat. J'aime le rock. Ich liebe Rammstein. What blew my mind was when my friend told me that if you master this pronunciation, you can make a R sound, not with the tip of your tongue, but from the back of your throat. Kind of like gargling, but without water. If you take a look at the Portuguese language, you can hear all three R's. The rolling R, the hard R, and the guttural R. At least in Brazil, depending on the dialect. Collect the whole set. For example, depending on the dialect, one might say falar, or falar, or falar. Speaking of dialects, the way you pronounce the letter R in Chinese also varies greatly. In Mandarin Chinese, some people might pronounce this as R, or Z. Pronouncing R in Japanese is kind of like when you pronounce the word ready in English and you take that soft flapping D sound and you make it even softer. And then you combine rolled R in its softest pronunciation and divide the whole thing by 2. Like rarirurero, rarirurero. Keep in mind that the Japanese language uses 3 different alphabets: hiragana, katakana, and kanji. The only time you would use the letter R is when you try to convert Japanese words into Roman letters. As someone who is fluent in English and Japanese, I'm gonna make a video on this specific topic, so be sure to subscribe. If you've ever tried to learn the Turkish language, you may have noticed that some people add a sh sound after the letter R, like teşekkürler, hayır. You hear the rsh, right? I talked to my Turkish friend about this, but my friend did not know what I was talking about. How could this be? Apparently, native speakers tend to pronounce the letter R with a bit of air that sounds like a sh to non-native speakers. I obviously can't go over every language, so I'm gonna stop here. Well, that's the end of the video, and I'd like to know how you pronounce the letter R. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video if the internet algorithm doesn't decide to hate on me. Chickling or checking, chickling, the chilling, chickling, yuck. Chickling or checking, chickling, the chilling, chickling, yuck. Hey, pissed off bus and dance, Kong got a boss son's death. Yo, guy no ANA, which one can walk on? Too many hoes, way too many hoes. Too many hoes, way too many hoes. Onlar işte
かりますの